If you or someone you love qualifies for the disability tax credit, there's a savings account available to you that you don't know about, and it offers one of the most generous government matching programs available. The Registered Disability Savings Plan, or the RDSP, has been around since about 2008, and in that time, it has remained one of the most underused financial tools probably in the country. In many cases, it's not because it's overly complicated, because it really isn't, it's because it's often overlooked. Hi, I'm Aidan McDermott, Associate Financial Advisor here at BLA Private Wealth of Raymond James. And if you have a child, a family member, or you yourself are living with a disability that qualifies for the disability tax credit, this video could be one of the most financially meaningful things you watch this year. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what the RDSP is, how the government matching works, what the withdrawal rules look like, and why opening this account matters so much, even if you can't contribute much. It matters more than people realize. And if this video is helpful, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, if you'd like to walk through your own situation, you can book a time with me using the link in the description below. The RDSP is a long-term savings account, think retirement, and it was designed to help Canadians with disabilities build financial security for the future. So it can be opened by a parent, a legal guardian, or an eligible adult themselves. But the key that unlocks this account, the RDSP, is called the Disability Tax Credit, or the DTC. So to open and contribute to an RDSP, the beneficiary of that account must be approved for the DTC by the CRA. So if you or your child has a mental or physical impairment that significantly restricts daily activities, it might be worth looking into. And the DTC opens not only just the RDSP, but a range of other credits and benefits as well. So once opened, the RDSP, it has a lifetime contribution limit of $200,000 with no annual limit. Contributions are not tax deductible, but growth inside the account is tax sheltered. The taxable portion of that growth on the withdrawals, that's included in the beneficiary's income. And because many of them have limited income or credits that offset, the tax impact might be relatively low or none at all. Contributions can be made up until the beneficiary turns 59, at which time annual payments must begin. The feature that makes the RDSP unlike anything else in the financial system is called the CDSG, or the Canada Disability Savings Grant. This is where the federal government matches contributions at rates that are super generous. The matching, however, depends on your family's income. So for families with net income that are on the lower end, but they're based on thresholds that are updated every year, the government matches 300% on the first $500 of contributions and 200% on the next $1,000. So that means a $1,500 annual contribution generates $3,500 in grants in a single year. That's huge. If your family income is a little bit higher, then the government still gives you some matching. It's 100% on the first $1,000 of contributions. So a $1,000 grant for a $1,000 contribution. It's 1-to-1. The lifetime maximum grant is $70,000 per beneficiary, and grants are available until the end of the year. The beneficiary turns 49. So few other government savings plans offer this level of matching. And I want to make something abundantly clear. For your net family income, this matters only until the beneficiary turns 18. Once they're on their own and a full adult, then it's based on their income. So even if you have a large income in between the years your beneficiary is, say, 1 to 17, contributions thereafter will then get likely the full matching from the CRA. And for lower income families, the government does try to go a little bit further. So the CDSB is called the Canada Disability Savings Bond, and that deposits money directly into your RDSP without any contribution required. So for families with net income under approximately $36,000, they receive the full $1,000 of bond per year. Families with income between 36 and about 54, 53, they receive a partial bond. So the lifetime maximum for that is $20,000. And that means that lower income families who genuinely cannot contribute anything, they can still accumulate over $20,000 in government bonds just over time by opening the account and leaving it open. That point is worth sitting with for a moment. You don't have to contribute a single dollar to receive meaningful government support inside this account. The barrier to starting is lower than almost any other savings vehicle in the country. Let me put some numbers to this, because the compounding here is a little bit striking. Let's take a family whose daughter was diagnosed at age 5 with a disability who's qualifying for the DTC. They open that RDSP, and their family income qualifies them for the full matching, right? They contribute $1,500 per year, and that's enough to capture the full $3,500 of annual grant. Let's assume they make an average of 5% per year. on that money. So by age 10, the account balance over $66,000. By the beneficiary's age 20, it's approaching $177,000. By age 50, well, you can see how much it can grow from there. Over that period, the family contributed roughly $70,000 of their own money, but the government contributed an additional $70,000 in grants. All that remaining growth came from decades of compounding inside that tax-sheltered account. That's why this program is designed to do and how it works when families start early and contribute consistently. Like I said, the RDSP is designed as a long-term savings vehicle, and the rules around withdrawals reflect that. So before thinking about taking any money out, it's important to understand the 10-year holdback rule. So any grants or bonds received in the 10 years prior to withdrawal, they must remain in the plan. This is called the assistance holdback amount. So if a withdrawal would require dipping into the grants, right, those grants and bonds must be repaid to the government. So they want to penalize you for trying to take those grants early, right? So in some cases, for every dollar withdrawn, a portion of bonds and grants may need to be repaid, making early withdrawals very, very costly to the end beneficiary. Overall, there are two different types of withdrawals that can come out of the RDSP. The first is the most common, the LDAP, or Lifetime Disability Assistance Payments. These are annual payments that begin no later than age 60, and they're spread over the beneficiary's lifetime. They're intended withdrawals to avoid large repayments, and they're just the way the account was designed to be used. The other is the Disability Assistance Payment, or DAPs. These are lump sum or ad hoc withdrawals that can be made at any time, but they trigger the holdback repayment rules if grants or bonds were received in the preceding 10 years. There is a relief provision, and it's called the Proportional Repayment Rule. So under this rule, for every dollar withdrawn, a proportional amount of grants and bonds must be repaid rather than the full holdback amount. So this makes early access more manageable in genuine hardship situations, though it can still represent a significant cost. But the message is simple. The RDSP is built to be held for the long term, and it rewards families who treat it that way. Here's what I want you to take from this. The RDSP is not a niche product for a small group of Canadians, because there are over 1.8 million Canadians living with a disability that could potentially qualify for the DTC. And a significant portion of those families are not using this account. Some don't know it exists, some don't think the application process is worth it, and some open the account and just never optimized it. But with the government matching available through the CDSG, it's the most generous of any savings program in Canada, right? A $1,500 annual contribution generating $3,500 in grants, that's not a rounding error, that's a transformational planning tool. And that rewards families who are dealing with disability in a way that they've never had before. So if the DTC application feels daunting, it's worth getting support to work through it, because the account it unlocks and the compounding it enables over decades can play a meaningful role in supporting long-term financial security. Because financial security for someone you love isn't something you stumble into, it's something you build deliberately, with the right tools in place and the right people. If you want to understand whether the RDSP makes sense for your family situation, book a time with me using the link in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.